The chalice is the symbol of the Unitarian Universalist faith. We light it at the beginning and extinguish it at the end of our gatherings together. And this morning, the words come from Crag Roland, where the streets are holy. We light this chalice for the sacred that walks unshone through alleyways, that leans against brick walls with smoke on its breath, that hums in neon flicker and bus exhaust. This flame burns for the holiness found in dirty hands, in cracked voices, in the movements of sudden stillness between sirens and footsteps. Not every sanctuary has walls. Some are made of shadow and asphalt. Some are stitched together from longing, kindness, and sheer survival. We light this flame to remember divinity does not always wear white. Sometimes it wears denim. Sometimes it looks like a stranger holding a door for a moment longer. It burns to show us what is real. For a service featuring queer satirical nuns, I find the words of Rebecca Ann Parker, former president of Star King School for the Ministry, to be particularly appropriate this morning. Your gifts, whatever you discover them to be, can be used to bless or curse the world. The mind's power, the strength of the hands, the reaches of the heart, the gift of speaking, listening, imagining, seeing, waiting. Any of these can serve to feed the hungry, bind up wounds, welcome the stranger, praise what is sacred, and do the work of justice or offer love. Any of these can draw down the prison door, hoard bread, abandon the poor, obscure what is holy, comply with injustice, or withhold love. You must answer this question. What will you do with your gifts? Choose to bless the world. The choice to bless the world is more than just an act of will, a moving forward into the world with the intention to do good. It is an act of recognition, a confession of surprise, a grateful acknowledgement that in the midst of a broken world, unspeakable beauty, grace, and mystery abide. There is an embrace of kindness that encompasses all life, even yours. And while there is injustice, anesthetization, or evil, there moves a holy disturbance, a benevolent rage, a revolutionary love, protesting, urging, insisting that which is sacred will not be defiled. Those who bless the world live their life as a gesture of thanks for this beauty and this rage. The choice to bless the world can take you into solitude, to search for the sources of power and grace, native wisdom, healing, and liberation. More, the choice will draw you into community, the endeavor that is shared, the heritage passed on, the companionship of struggle, the importance of keeping faith, the life of ritual and praise, the comfort of human friendship, the company of earth, and the chorus of life that welcomes you. None of us alone can save the world. Together, there is another possibility waiting. Ready? All right. This morning, we are honored to welcome Sister O.M.Gee, known as the Nun of Charity, Comedy, and the Occasional Holy Scandal. Sister O.M.Gee is a native of Indiana who has called DFW Metroplex home for nearly 10 years. She is spunky, fun, and deeply loving. Charity and community service keep her going in her heels and habits. She is proud to be a fully professed member of the DFW Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. And if you meet her out in the world, chances are she's packing a bliss kit, ready to offer care, comfort, and a bit of joy. The DFW Sisters are part of the worldwide order of 21st century queer nuns devoted to community service, fundraising, outreach, advocacy, and safer sex education. They exist to promote human rights, respect for diversity, spiritual enlightenment. And a long time ago, in 1976, far away in the land of Oz, Iowa, a coven of Roman Catholic nuns lent some retired habits to a troupe called the Sugar Plum Fairies, who were performing their version of The Sound of Music. 1 year later, having moved to San Francisco, they brought those habits to the streets of the Castro district. In bold face paints and holy high heels, they found their mission: to promulgate universal joy and expiate stigmatic guilt. From those early days of creating some of the first safer sex and sex-positive education materials and organizing AIDS vigils, they have raised funds and showed up in bold, glitter-covered source of compassion and truth-telling in the queer community and beyond. Here in North Texas, the DFW Sisters carry that legacy forward with humor, irreverent wit, and a very serious commitment to care. They remind us that holiness can look like sequins and whiteface, a glistening, listening, earring-covered ear in a nightclub parking lot, or a nun handing you a bliss kit when you need it most. This morning, Sister O.M.Gee is here to share a story of the sisters, their history, and the ongoing work for joy and justice. Please welcome to the stage, Sister O.M.Gee.
Good morning, beloveds. My name is, as Ian said, Sister O.M.Gee, and I bring you greetings and glitter from the DFW Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, a joyful order of queer nuns devoted to service, community, and the healing power of laughter. Before we begin, let's all just take a breath. Inhale the hope that brings us together, and exhale the fear, the shame, the separation that tries to keep us apart. Because today, right now, in this room, we are united in memory, in mission, and in love. Now, I know what you might be thinking. A nun here with a few jewels. Yes, I am indeed a nun, just not the kind that you found on your grandmother's prayer card. My rosary might sparkle, my habit might blind you in direct sunlight, and my prayers might occasionally rhyme with 4-letter words. But my calling is as real as any. Like the sisters who came before me, I've taken vows to serve my community and to spread joy, to help lift the weight of guilt and shame, and to off the shoulders of those who were told that they didn't belong. And I'm deeply, deeply honored to be with you here today. A place where love is not conditional, where questions are welcomed, and where the spirit of community is alive and well. We gather because tomorrow is World AIDS Day, a day where we remember millions we've lost, we honor those still living with HIV, and we commit ourselves again to the work of the compassion, justice, and care. We gather because hope, real hope, is not passive. Hope is a verb. Hope is action. Hope is unity made visible. Today is a day that asks us to remember, to grieve, to hope, and to act. It's a day when candles are lit for those we've lost and for those still living with HIV. A day when we honor how far we've come, but also face the truth of how far we still have to go. For many of us in the LGBTQ plus community, and for the sisters especially, World AIDS Day is a holy day. Because our story is woven through the story of HIV and AIDS. The AIDS crisis shaped us. It took from us, and it still takes from us. And yet somehow, through all of the pain, it also taught us how to care for one another in ways the world had forgotten. So today I bring you a message of unity through hope. And unity is more than being in the same room. It's belonging to one another. It's taking responsibility for each other's well-being. It's saying your survival is tied to mine. And hope, my loves, hope is not naive. Hope is fierce. Hope is the conviction that things can change, that no diagnosis, no stigma, no injustice has the final word. So when we talk about unity through hope, we're talking about transformation. We're talking about a love so contagious that it overcomes fear. We're talking about a community so connected that healing becomes inevitable. Unity through hope means that we share resources, that we educate and remove shame, that we remember those we've lost and we live to honor them, that we celebrate life not in spite of struggle, but because of it. If you feel comfortable now, take a quick moment, turn to someone near you, maybe someone you don't know, and just offer a smile, a nod, a handshake, because you are part of this unity, and you belong here. That right there is unity through hope. Simple, human, and sacred. I sometimes imagine what it must have been like in those early years, when the headlines screamed plague, when families turned away, when laughter itself felt dangerous. And yet, people loved anyways. They showed up anyway. They danced, they created, they organized, and they marched. Because even in the darkest moments, the queer community has always known that joy is not frivolous. Joy is revolutionary, and joy is how we heal. That is the spirit that the sisters were born from. Defiance wrapped in compassion, holiness mixed with camp. We painted our faces not to hide who we were, but to show the world that divine beauty it refused to see. We became living icons of radical love, stepping into hospitals, protests, bars, and the streets to bring comfort, education, and sometimes just a much-needed laugh. As for me, I am the DFW Sisters Mistress of Bliss, which is a fun job. I help make sure that our community has access to our little Bliss kits. It's filled with condoms, lube, and safe sex information. It's holy work, believe it or not, helping people protect themselves and each other. It's a ministry of care and pleasure, two things that are often kept separate. So today, as we remember, I invite us all to do it with full hearts, not only mourning who we've lost, but celebrating the beauty of their lives. Because remembrance without celebration is only half of the story. Today, we honor the dead. We comfort the living. And we commit ourselves again to a future where no one is left behind. Not because of who they love, where they come from, or what they carry in their blood. This is sacred work. This is community, and I'm grateful to be doing it here today. When we speak of AIDS and of HIV, we are speaking of an entire generation's heartbreak. We are speaking of friends, lovers, mentors, artists, drag mothers, activists, whole constellations of people who shaped our world and whose lights were dimmed too soon. For those of us who came after, we live in the glow of their memory, and we walk in the paths that they carved with their courage, their care, and their refusal to disappear quietly. The early years of the epidemic were filled with fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of each other, and for many, fear of being seen. People were dying, and too often they were dying alone. Not because there was no love for them, but because stigma built walls where compassion should have built bridges. Hospitals turned people away. Families turned each other away. And the governments turned their backs. And still, somehow, our community showed up. It wasn't always loud or glamorous. Sometimes it was a friend sitting at a bedside, holding a hand that nobody else would touch. Sometimes it was a neighbor dropping off groceries, or a stranger just slipping a note of kindness under a door. And sometimes it was a nun in a white face, with glitter in her veil, walking into a hospital room to remind someone that they were still loved, completely, fiercely, without condition. Those moments mattered. They changed things. They saved lives even when they couldn't save bodies. The sisters have always believed that joy is a form of resistance. In those darkest days, joy was a radical act. Because when the world told us we were disposable, we threw parades. When society said we should be silent, we sang. And when grief threatened to swallow us whole, we found a way to laugh. Not because it wasn't painful, but because laughter made the pain bearable. There's a saying amongst the sisters that we take our calling seriously just not ourselves. That's how so many in our community survived those years, by finding light in the middle of the darkness. When I think about World AIDS Day, I think about all of the names that we still carry on our hearts, the ones we whisper in moments of quiet, the ones we speak aloud so that they are not forgotten. I think of the quilts, mile after mile of fabric stitched with love and grief and hope. I think of the vigils, the protests, and pride marches that became memorials and celebrations at the same time. And I think of how those we lost didn't just leave us memories. They left us instructions. They showed us what it means to show up, to care, to speak out, and to love without apology. Their legacy is not only in the pain that they endured, but in the world they built for us. A world where conversations about HIV can happen in a church like this one, in the light of day, with love instead of fear. So when we remember them, let it not be in mourning, but in gratitude. Gratitude for their courage, gratitude for their laughter, gratitude that they taught us how to turn sorrow into service and love into action. Because remembrance, my friends, is not passive. It's a living thing, something that we carry forward every time we choose compassion over judgment, care over silence, and joy over despair. The Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence were born from the need to bring light into the places shadowed by fear. What started as a handful of queer nuns in San Francisco with the borrowed habits and wild hearts grew into an international movement of service, joy, and compassion. Here in Dallas-Fort Worth, our work continues that legacy. We show up at Pride, at clinics, at food pantries, at drag shows, at protests, and at church. Wherever our community gathers, we bring a message of love and safety. One of our most important projects, in my opinion, is our Bliss Kits. These small bundles of safer sex materials, lube, and information about resources for testing, housing, food, income support. All of that is right here. As the Mistress of Bliss, it is my joyful duty to make sure that these supplies keep flowing. It can sometimes be glamorous work, but it is sacred. Because every Bliss Kit handed out says your body matters, your safety matters, you are worthy of care. Our mission may be wrapped in glitter and humor, but it's grounded in the same truth that guides every act of compassion. When we care for one another, we honor the divine spark in each of us. And that's where I see the kinship here. This church, this community, because the work of the sisters and the work of this congregation are not so different. We both believe in love over fear. We both believe in service over silence. We both believe in celebrating the beauty and dignity of every human life. Beloveds, today is not just a memorial. It's a movement. Our unity, our hope, our love, they demand action. Reach out to those who feel alone. Volunteer, donate, educate, speak truth to stigma, and above all, keep hope alive. Because unity through hope is how we heal the world. Let our unity be our prayer and our hope be our song. A song that carries across time, across differences, across pain. and transforms it into healing, laughter, and love. So as we remember those lost, as we comfort the living, and as we rededicate ourselves to compassion, let us also bring joy into our grief. Let us bring humor into our fear, and let us bring glitter into the shadows. Because joy is a rebellion. Joy is resistance. And joy, my friends, is holy. May we honor the past, serve the present, and fight for a future where no one is left behind. May we carry forward the lessons of love, laughter, and radical care. And may we in all things remember to take our calling seriously, just not yourselves. Beloveds, as I close my time of speaking in remembrance, I invite you to rest for a moment in the heartbeat of this gathered community. A heartbeat made stronger because we beat together. We have remembered the ones we lost. We have honored the ones who fought. And we have celebrated the ones who continue to live, love, and rise. But the greatest act of remembrance is not silence. It's in unity. It's in the way we hold one another, lift one another, and refuse to let despair have the final word. Hope, my loves, is not a wish. Hope is a muscle, one that we must build by showing up for each other with compassion and courage. Hope is what stitches our broken places back together. Hope is what turns grief into grace and pain into purpose. And when we hope together, we become unstoppable. That is unity through hope. Not a dream for someday, but a promise and commitment for right now. When one of us is weary, hope says, lean on me. When one of us is lost, unity whispers, you belong here. When the world feels too heavy, love reminds us we will carry this together. So when we leave this place bound by the sacred thread of hope, each of us a single strand, but together the tapestry is strong enough to hold the weight of the world. May our unity be our sanctuary. May our hope be our prayer. May our love be our lasting legacy. And may when we walk forward, glittered with grace, anchored in compassion, and radiant with the light that only unity through hope can bring. In the name of love that binds us, of hope that sustains us, and of unity that transforms us, blessed be. Now, Ian, if you don't mind, before I go, from the sisters, because we want that light in the darkness, we want to leave a little light from the sisters to your congregation. So a little glitter from the sisters so that you always have light.
For our closing words this morning, A Blessing for Hope on World AIDS Day by Maureen Kilrun. It has been a long struggle, and our work is far from over. As we go forth, may we be empowered by the spirit of hope and healing, whose only name is God, and for whose other name is love. May the blessings of love be upon us and within us. May love's truth be upon our vision. May love's wisdom dwell within our hearts. May love's persistence inspire our lips. May love's gentleness give comfort to our bodies. May love's gratitude accompany our sleep. May love's healing be a balm for our brokenness. May love's serenity give peace to our weary souls. May love's confidence energize our minds. May love's challenge keep us faithful. Faithful in our struggle, faithful in our conviction that love and justice and hope will ultimately prevail. As we extinguish this flame, may we carry its smoke with us into the streets, into the places where holiness is hard to see, but always waiting to be noticed. Let us go with eyes open for wonder in the worn out, with reverence for each passerby, and with the knowing that the sacred does not hide from the world, it lives in it. Go now, not to escape the brokenness, but to journey beside it, and sometimes to bless it.